Aish izila sashman shwagaita.
Wenja hadra. Ma muduchan.
Tu hajra duchanta.
Commander feels great. Hello guys, and welcome back to some more Far Cry Primal. We will be heading all the way down here again for his mission. And feel free to skip halfway through the video if you don't want to watch me get over there, because I already went over there twice in a row, and this is the third time. So yeah, luckily enough, you can. I think you can kind of see the preview. You know, like when you hover over the timeline of the video, you can probably just use that to skip ahead. Don't worry, I won't blame you for it. But I'm stubborn and I stick to my word, and I'm gonna walk all the way there. By using, not walk, but ride, I guess. With Tikra here as a friend. I guess I can continue to talk a little bit about my my OBS issues, because they are a bit of a pain, and it's always nice to get it off my chest. So, if you're interested in like listening, then I will gladly speak out loud. So I'm recording overkill stuff, by the way. I'm recording 400 megabytes per second, which is 400,000 kilobytes, and just for reference, for streaming you use 6,000. So I'm recording 394,000 more than you usually use for streaming. So I'm pretty much almost running lossless, if not lossless for the most part. It all performs very well, and no issues really occur in the actual encoding process or anything. But there seems to be some kind of weird issue with my OBS, maybe because I have it on my C drive, where it randomly has preview stutter that happens when I look side to side like this or something. And then it causes actual frame rate drops in the recording without there being actual frame rate drops in the recording. So it looks weird, and it happens with every single game, no matter what I have on, whether I have any overlays or not, whether anything goes on. It's all connected to the games and OBS, just a preview. Even when I'm not recording, by the way, zero recording, still preview stutter. Nothing I can do about it. It comes and goes, and it hurts my poor videos. Now, a way to combat it would be to record at a multiple of 60, I suppose. Because it's recommended that you record multiples of 60 in order to get a smooth 60 FPS frame rate. That is what I always aim to do. But because I'm recording 4K through DLDSR, it's very hard to get 120 FPS, and especially impossible to get 180 FPS. And that pretty much makes everything a bit harder. Can we come back here? But even if I do that, I'm only like mitigating the issue slightly by making it look more smooth when it happens anyway, because it cuts out half of the duplicated frames or half of the lagged frames or whatever you want to call it. And again, I have the stat widget in OBS open at all times. I constantly look at it for how much space is left, the rendering and encoding lag, and so on and so forth. And it's a zero. Nothing happens when I get the stutters. It is not really connected to that at all. It is something with my system, or it is something weird that's going on. But here's the funny thing. I didn't used to get it. And I had it before, but it went away. And here's the kicker, the real kicker, by the way. No, what was I gonna say? You know when you're about to say something crazy and you forgot about it. Oh yeah, here's the kicker. I've heard that it's about the refresh rate, right? But I'm running both 120 on my screens. I've also used CIU, which is a custom resolution utility which can change the resolution of your screens as long as it's within the refresh rate of the max one of your screen. So I've tried running straight up 6060, like 6000 by the way, because a lot of screens are like, as an example, my screens here are 119.98 because I have two screens. But anyway, I forced both screens to be 60. I don't want to do that. I rather not do that. So yeah, that's what I did. And I didn't really gain anything from it. It still did it. So it's not refresh rate related, although the refresh rates probably also happens to have an issue. But that issue is not something I'm really encountering because I'm using G-Sync. And I've also tried it without G-Sync. I've tried 60 refresh rate, 60 FPS, V-Sync enabled and V-Sync disabled, locked frame rate, everything we can think of. No fix. And so my only real guess as to what's wrong is that I have it on my C drive and I have some kind of weird bug in my hardware that causes the issue to happen, either in my memory, my drive, everything. But I've tried to figure out if my drive is dying. I've tried to figure out everything. Like when I say I've tried everything, I've straight up looked up everything. So what I'm thinking of doing now is taking my OBS, using the portable version, removing the one from my C drive, because a lot of it still uses the C drive version if you don't uninstall that one. So I'm thinking of removing it from my C drive, using it on another drive, and then see if it's the C drive and something with Windows that could be messing with it. Here we are, Sunwalker ring. But anyway, that's what I'm combating at the moment. To free the captives, they'll join the fight? Sure, why not? Oh, untie you as well. There we go. Teamwork, guys. Yeah, I even tried writing on the OBS forum in case you think that's something I should try doing, asking for support. No one really answered. I'm guessing a lot of people also didn't really understand what the problem was because they didn't have the problem. And it seems to be related to only a few people, which is also very unique. But I suppose it can happen. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I pretty much tried disabling game bar and everything as well. Well, I always have it disabled, but Windows game mode is what I meant. Did you hit me from your bag? That was a great shot. Oh boy, oh boy. Sorry, Tigre, I did not mean to hit you. But just so you guys are aware, I'm running complete smooth 60 FPS in my game. Nothing laggy, nothing. But sometimes I get weird lag in the recording, in the preview. Some kind of weird issue with the connection of the hook or something. But yeah. So if you randomly see, that's why. That's what's going on. Let's go ahead and burn the rest of the stuff. Already burnt. Ooh, most of the burn. Alright, I'm just breaking, not really burning it. Whoopsie. The rock. Oh no, yeah, let's get away from this while it burns. Not very good. There we go. How many more are there? And there's still this field over here, I suppose. Ouch. Get out of here. Whoops. Ooh, nice. And now we gotta go back. Because we just got it. Wonder what I should talk about. Oh. Alright, can you please? Right, there we go. Alright, I guess I can talk about the upcoming graphics cards while I'm here. So, at the moment of this recording, it just turned New Year's. It is now 2025. I always record these videos in advance, and I don't usually record them the day before uploading them at all, because I don't have time. Like, straight up. I upload at the moment, and I have done that for a long time. Sometimes on and off, of course. But I usually typically upload 3 videos each day. Now, if I went down to 1 each day, I could probably record live, but I also feel like I myself would miss out on a lot of games, and I also feel that I wouldn't bring enough like different content to you guys, because I try to differentiate the content on my channel to make like to give you guys the damn controller stopped working again. To give you guys a lot to pick between in case you're interested in, let's say you're not interested in Far Cry Primal, right? If you're here, you're probably interested in it. But let's say you're interested in Far Cry Primal, and or you aren't interested in it, then I probably have like some, let's say Call of Duty. I don't really plan on playing the Call of Duty game. It's so expensive what it is these days. I'm not really interested in the modern ones anyway. I like World at War and like World War II stuff like that. That is less about a squad and more about just being in the battle. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. But yeah, I like to have different Let's Plays going at the same time, like essentially 3. And if I have 3, I feel like I have enough content to satisfy a lot of people's wants, I suppose. Because then if they're not interested in this one, they can watch the next one. And I feel like that is a nice thing to do. And let's be honest, I've been doing this for since 2017. How many years? 6, 7? I mean, I guess it's 8 if you count everything, but that's not what I'm gonna do, I don't think. But no, I've been doing this for a long time, let's just say that. And I know all the processes and steps in making videos at this point. And I don't have an editor, I edit all my videos myself and everything. And YouTubers only making 1 video is, like I said, because either 1, they feel like they just want to make money on YouTube and not anything else. So if they can upload 1, they're gonna stick with 1. Because they're not really interested in the games, they're interested in the money they get from the videos. And that's completely fair, to be honest. I don't really blame those guys. As long as the content is enjoyable, like, who cares why they made it? And then there's like 2. They typically they might also be very busy people. Like, let's say you upload 1 and you're because if you're big, because we're talking about bigger people now. Like smaller people like me don't have a lot of time because we have stuff on the side we gotta do. Right now I do have time to record 3 because it's like, I mean, it's not hard work to record videos. I'm just gonna be honest about that. That's kind of my whole point. It's not hard to record videos. You can record like 10 videos a day if you don't really have anything you need to do that day besides eat. But of course you gotta socialize, spend time with friends if you want. But all of those are like things you can do. But if you prioritize your audience, you can at least upload and make 3 videos a day. It's just that YouTubers are typically a bit lazy. And all YouTubers might be upset if I say that, but they are, because they can afford to be lazy, because their videos typically do well. Because smaller channels are the ones that upload more frequently, I have noticed. Again, not that I blame bigger YouTubers, because if you can be lazy and enjoy your life, why not, right? But yeah, recording videos is not hard work. Editing them can be annoying depending on how much you edit, because I've done both. Like these videos are let's play, so I don't have to edit them a lot. But if I edit things a lot, it does take longer time. But the main issue is my motivation, not the actual work itself. Because the work itself I can do a whole day. Like if I spend one day, so let's say like 12 hours, I can edit a whole video that's 30 minutes long in 12 hours. And make it as, if not as good, because I still require more experience about it, but make it almost as good as one of the bigger YouTubers' videos. And make it higher quality as well. Because I put more thought into, sorry bigger YouTubers, but I don't think a lot of them don't know anything about bitrate and the amount of compression YouTube does, and I don't think they care enough. Because I see all of their bitrates all over the place, and the quality is all over the place. But yeah, I see a lot of them. And this doesn't seem like they care as much. But again, like if you don't have to, why do it? I mean, I would still want to do it even if I'm big and stuff, but like it's a big thing. Like if you got big, what would you do? They also don't read comments, which is something I'm a bit sad about. A lot of them do, but some of them also don't, which is very sad. But what do you guys think? Like, I'm not trying to glorify myself or anything. I would probably go down to 2 videos each day if I were to become big. Because 3 videos is a bit taxing mentally. Not to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm so mentally dead. Oh, I'm so depressed. No, more like, I need to do something else because I'm going crazy here editing the same things over and over again. But I feel like the main hurdle that popular YouTubers and stuff have is sitting down, sitting still, looking at the program they're editing, and then going, oh, okay, I'm gonna edit this and edit that and edit this, and then after they've done it for 5 minutes, they're like, oh, I'm just not that interested in this. And so you can argue they could hire editors, but the editors need proper working conditions too. So you have to make them have a proper working conditions, which means you have to only work at it a specific amount of times. That slows down your videos too. So at that point, if you don't do it yourself, you hire editors, you're gonna slow everything down. So you're probably gonna have to go down to fewer videos. Or you are gonna go ahead and go do the DIY, do it yourself. And you're gonna go ahead and spend a lot of time just sitting still, editing the videos if they're very edited, and then going, I can't do this anymore, taking a break, going back to it, and then kind of procrastinate until you eventually finish it, which could take a month or 2. Not for me, I'm just gonna try to understand people that do that to a certain extent. Like I said, I can do it in 12 hours, means aka I can do it in like a week. If I work that way myself, because I can kind of force myself to do it. But other people who are huge in YouTube, weirdly enough, have ADHD and stuff like that, and forcing themselves to do things like that can take time. So yeah, anyway, my point is 3 videos a day is not hard to do, and bigger YouTubers can do it if they wanted to, but they don't do it because 1, they don't have to, 2, they probably don't feel like it, and 3, they can afford to be lazy and upload 1 video a day, because for them, it's not like, they're not into the whole YouTube community thing, they're into the money on YouTube. Not all, like I need to clarify, not all big YouTubers are like this, but quite a lot are, based on what I've seen on their channels and stuff.
Maita karwi bishausa.
Oh, she gave you stuff. You think it's ugly?
Winjaha.
Batari uguanta. Izila nuenja dwaya.
Nu tashlaudra. Kunasta.
Nai. Wenja hashwasa. Kwai shwadata. Kwai shizila wenja hashwasa?
Numas mash da chai magata. Winja hajra su. Ais izila sashman shwagaita.
Wenja hadra. Ma muduchan.
Tu hajra. Duchanta.
Commander feels great. I like our main character. He's kind of funny. In like an accidental kind of way.
Guam! Winza! Guarisamas!
Ola Marwa. Sush dugi star shah. Masidam Shabala.
Nati haika guasta saila.
You don't want to touch that.
Salwa Urus. Winja Nashman Waida. Takar. Nashman Dwayarish.
Shaja! Mas Warviti! Warish! Tibal Shayu! Winza! Yoga!
Takar! Warbati!
Takar! Wapati!
Nutakar. Uhar. Nu. Tibrayash Swarsta.
Land of Oros, conquered. That's it? Okay, I mean, I was hoping for a little bit of a bigger, like, outcome. Sorry. I still feel a little bit sick. Okay, I mean, I guess I can say what I think about the game now. Alright, so straight up, this game was actually a bit of a fresh take on the way that Ubisoft makes open world games, in all honesty. And I'll explain why in a bit, but I don't think it's enough to really call it different. I think I guess it can be called different, but not like different take on the open world genre or anything. But let's start with the characters. That's a fairly easy thing. The characters are interesting. They lack purpose. They actually lack soul. They don't really stand out too much. Like Takar is just kind of the silly caveman who takes everything as it's said and does what he's told. He's more like a tool than anything else for the Wenja, but he does it out of like his own will. Like he wants to be a tool for the Wenja. The lady we met in the beginning just kind of wanted revenge on the Udam. The shaman, I guess, wanted revenge on the Isila because he had a past with them, because he was burnt as well. See anything else? I mean, the Udam guy is pretty cool. The other characters I didn't really care about that much. Like, they weren't that interesting to me. Again, another revenge blood as well. There were a lot of revenge bloods in this one. Sort of. Even hidden revenge bloods. Which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, straight to the point. None of the other characters really interested me. Urki was clearly Herc in caveman times, I'm pretty sure. It's a common joke that Ubisoft had, but I think they stopped it in Far Cry 6, didn't they? All right. So story-wise, because I don't care about any of the other characters really. Like they didn't really mean much. Although getting peed on was kind of funny. But let's go with the story. You go into this place, it's taken over by 2 other tribes fighting for control against the Wenja, and the Wenja is kind of this small guy, and then you come in and change it and essentially recruit people and kill everyone else. And integrate them into the Wenja tribe, which then leads to essentially you becoming the big, strong power that evolves humanity, right? Now, I don't know how close to reality this is, like setting-wise, but based on the story, it's complete BS. Like, that's not at all how it went. Ubisoft mixes... They always mix their political, like... Not a political stature, but like... Their messaging, I should say. The messaging is always in their games nowadays. Like, I remember Far Cry 3 was dark, brutal, didn't really give you time to breathe and make sense of things. And Jason was taking this situation seriously. He was in trouble. He was messed up. He got taken advantage of. He became kind of crazy. Then he started being normal again, and then the ending happened, and then, you know, like, you were just all over the place, and you had to learn to survive. And you could see that based on your character. You could upgrade. Like, Far Cry 3 is the best Far Cry game in my opinion. Although the most fun one I've played is Far Cry 4, because all the new things added in that game. But essentially Far Cry 3 is probably the best one in my opinion. Now, Far Cry Primal here had a lot of cool things as well. You could ride animals, you could do a lot of those cool things. But as far as like a representation of caveman times goes, I don't think it's a good one. I think it's a decent open world game. I think it is an okay setting that they have. I think that it can be fun, but they don't sell me on the caveman setting. Like, there wasn't enough, like, let's be honest here, there wasn't enough guys. Like, when you attacked Isilla and the Udam, YouTube's probably gonna hate me saying this, but there was a lot of rape, there were a lot of kidnapping women and children, there were a lot of, like, killing offspring because they didn't want them to like take over and stuff. Like, you did not want all of them to survive and be taken into your tribe. You wanted your tribe to be the strongest, and the fact that they're too smart in this one is also a bit bad. Of course, except for Urki. And they didn't showcase enough brutality, enough of how it actually worked, and every single source I've read on the caveman times, I'm gonna call them caveman times because I don't remember the actual name for it. Every single source says that, again, the men were hunters and the females took care of the kids and was at camps and stuff. So the fact that there were so many female hunters on both all 3 of the thingies. Actually, no, only the Udam were the ones that didn't have female. But Wenja and Isilla had a lot of females that also fought, which I also don't think is very historical. I feel like this game lacks a lot of historical accuracy and goes for messaging instead, where you take in the guy's kids because he feels like they can live longer, because they can be like Wenja. Or the Isilla guy converting and it's like, I want to join you now. And then you going, yeah, but we're not going to do war, we're going to grow crops and stuff. And the fact that the Wenja have no flaws, really, they just kind of wanted to be there and they got kicked out and they're the good guys. They don't have a real flaw. They're just not strong because they're not exactly fighters. So it just feels like this game does not understand what the caveman times were all about, and it doesn't take it seriously. It goes in favor of modern idealism and how we want things to be and how we want to look back on those times than how it actually were. So I feel like Ubisoft kind of missed the mark completely with the actual setting of how to approach the story and the characters in those times where brutality was at its strongest and you didn't care about anyone because your only instinct was to keep your tribe alive because with them you can survive. And essentially there were an idea of right and wrong back then, but it was more in the idealism sector of the idea of, can the tribe survive if we keep this person, or can the tribe survive if we kill this person? And if you can survive without that person, you pretty much just kill them. And I feel like they kind of missed the whole point with how brutal it was back then. Because you killed people for no real reason back then, because you didn't believe life was worth keeping. Like, they were just in your way. Again, that's based on everything I've read. It was very brutal. Hunting for food was also pretty tough, because you shouldn't really... It was hard to find food, and when you fought, when you essentially fought food and stuff, I mean, they kind of sort of showcase it here with the Isilla knowing how to grow crops and stuff. But ultimately, it didn't really feel like that was a big deal. Like the food, the resources. I would love to see what the survival mode actually has in store, because this seemed kind of interesting. But I would love to see Ubisoft tackle a game like this again, but this time make it built around survival instead of the Far Cry formula. I think that could be very exciting, because I really had a feeling of a cool survival game in my mind when I played this one, taking place in caveman times, and you work your way up from the Stone Age to essentially the Flint Age, and then make basic tools to survive and discover fire and stuff like that. I know this is a bit after the cavemen have come to Europe, because this is like in the middle of Germany, right? That's what it said. Rather somewhere in Germany. But I still feel like there is some caveman things that it kind of fails to show off. And the whole idea of it being an open world, I also feel like it's a bit of a waste, because it felt very empty and just kind of placed animals and people in it. It felt like the open world was made first, and then you placed the people afterwards without an idea where the people were supposed to be when you made the map. I'm guilty of that myself when I made a fun little game. I tried to make a fun little game with my friend, and it kind of didn't turn out that well. But yeah, I'm also partly guilty about that. I completely forgot about the craft. It should already be on the screen, by the way, when I start talking. Usually I go bam and there it is, but no, this time I forgot about it. But yeah, I feel like the open world aspect didn't really fit this game very much. They didn't really lean into it that much, because I feel like most of the game they just made it linear. Like do one guy at a time or one quest at a time and meet different people along the way, and the linear map design. So I feel like it didn't have to be open world. I actually liked the beginning more because it wasn't open world. It was like a little small section. You had to hunt animals in there to move through the next small linear section. And as soon as I went into the open world, everything just felt so distant compared to before. And the whole survival aspect and the challenge kind of went away. So I actually think this game would have been better if you made it more linear. Also, the gameplay itself, they had a lot of cool additions. The slingshot, the traps, the spear throwing, the spear itself, how the things break, how you can throw things. Like they tried their best to make it exciting, but it's just not enough, because it just isn't. The whole game is you shooting a bow and arrow and throwing spears for... I mean, it should show how long the game is. The left corner, I suppose. I think I'm on episode 20 something, so maybe like 14 hours, 15, 16, around that time. And in that amount of time, I don't really feel like I have really done different things other than maybe hit some people with a club, thrown some spears, and then shot some arrows. That's like the gameplay of the game. And it feels a bit sad that, that there wasn't a lot of different choice in that variety. Like maybe different bows with different strengths and weaknesses. They sort of have that, but I'm talking about the kind of wood they're made out of, the strings they're made out of, the damage compared to the other ones, like other resources. Maybe you can make one out of certain things. Maybe you can make a healing one. Like, they're not trying to be historical anyway, so why not lean into the more how they perceived the time could be with the Ubisoft DNA, right? So maybe put blants on arrows and make poison arrows. Make healing arrows that if they hit someone, they could maybe like heal someone somehow. I don't try to make sense when I'm just trying to give ideas. maybe like a healing bomb, because it already had like gas bombs or the stuff with gas, and you can make a healing bomb, stuff like that. They could have leaned into that more and made it more exciting, make it more tactical and stuff, but they didn't. This has made it the same formula that they've done before. Like I said, like this is different. You can ride animals, you can tame animals, which was like a big aspect I really enjoyed. You can just kind of play Pokemon for a little bit with the animals in this game. But I also can't help but feel like if they had leaned more into the strengths of this game, they could have made a game that doesn't resemble Far Cry as much as it does. It's like 0.5. Like it's let's say Far Cry is already a 1. Okay, so you have 1 that's Far Cry, 0.5 is like, let's say, Call of Duty. And then 1.5 means that it is a bit further away from being Far Cry, but it's still Far Cry, because all the way to the right you have the Far Cry DNA, to the left you have completely different kind of DNA, and it's kind of in between there. I don't know why I used a weird thing. Just imagine a craft instead, where left you have Call of Duty or other type of games to try something different, and then you have to the right you have Far Cry, and it's in between those two, leaning more towards Far Cry, of course, because it's built with Far Cry in mind. So it's go to this point, do this, and then do this small mission that lasts like 2 minutes, then go to the next point, do that mission that lasts 2 minutes. The world was too big. I'm just gonna say that they didn't have enough content in the world. But Jesper, you didn't explore all the locations. No, because there were so many and they were so far apart. And when I went there, you know what I found? Resources I had already found some other place. It didn't incentivize me to explore at all. I didn't get new gear, new gloves, new wristbands, a new helmet or anything. I just went over there, saw something. I was like, not really interested in that. It doesn't give me anything, so why would I go there? The legendary enemies were cool. If not a little bit disappointing, they were all pretty much the same thing. Like, it's a typical Ubisoft scenario where you have a game with a lot of potential, but they stop themselves from using or leaning into that potential, because I feel like if they lean into the potential, it goes too far away from being a Far Cry game, and then they can't like know exactly how to make it from the ground up. Like, the vision is stuck. Like, they don't go away from the vision, because if they do, then they're taking a risk, and they don't want to take risks. And that's kind of my issue with this game. And any Far Cry game for that matter, in all honesty. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the gameplay and the world itself. A linear game, a similar kind of way of doing this stuff would be more fun. Less dragged out, of course, and more straight to the point. But I feel like that would have been more interesting, because my favorite part of the game was the beginning section, where you were with your friends and then the mammoth got attacked, and then you had to go through alone after he was attacked and stuff. And then you went into the open world, and all of a sudden I was no longer really interested in the setting, and more just kind of wanted to see what they were going to do with the game. It did feel fresh for like the first 6 hours though, I will say that. It did feel pretty fresh for the first 6 hours, because it was different. You didn't have guns, you didn't have grenades, nothing. You were stuck with a bow and arrow and a spear that you upgraded. And I liked the details of being able to upgrade the spear and it changing visually as well. So I gotta praise them for the visual changes. Because a lot of games nowadays just say it's better and have a different picture of it instead of actually making a model of it. And then it's just like, oh, this is better. Oh, okay, great. Thank you, game. Thank you for telling me, because I couldn't see it, so that's great. But no, this game is different. It actually does make it look better. And of course, there's a bunch of side missions, but I felt like it was too repetitive. I already did all of them. All of the missions that they had. This is different locations. I also did all the villager missions, because they were different. And they were less than I thought they were going to be. But I'm also kind of happy, because I was kind of running into a wall in the game. Because after 12 hours, I stopped having fun. Okay? Maybe, I know, let's say after 10 hours, I stopped having fun. I still had fun now and again, don't get me wrong, but the majority of the time was just me kind of wandering. what I could do and what I should do, and if I should fast travel in all honesty. Because it kept teleporting me back to the home stuff when I didn't want it to. It also loads you into the home every single time you go into the game. So I had to go back and fast travel to the place where I ended the video as well to make sure I didn't just kind of cheat back to the home. But yeah, overall I would say this is a... I mean, I would love to give it a 7, but I think it's a 6 out of 10. I don't think... They just didn't put enough effort into it. Like, it sounds bad to say that because it's clear that they did put effort into it, but I feel like they stopped before they could utilize the full potential of the game. I feel like they said this is good enough and set it out there instead of expanding on everything. So I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. I would love to give it a 7, but honestly, I just don't think it stands up to that standard. I would also say it's probably worth... Oh, wait, here we have the kid. Yeah, the messaging, Ubisoft,
Winja salwa. Mam Oros ati jauha.
Like, it's just too soft. I'm sorry, Ubisoft, it's just too soft. If you had gone a little bit more brutal, if you'd gone a little bit more crazy with the story, a little bit more violence, a little bit more ridiculous with how crazy everything was and how food was necessary and stuff. They had hints of that. They had like her ears. She got ears of people, and in the beginning they had the mammoths. They had to hunt in order to get food because they hadn't eaten for a long time. You know, all of those things. They kind of had a taste of it, and they did not expand on it. They were afraid to touch more on it. I feel like because of how political the world is today, and it just sucks that it's held back so much. It's because of that. It's ridiculous. But yeah, these areas are completely unnecessary, by the way. You only really go there for one to kill the dude. They might as well put him in here and then put the other guy down here somewhere. I feel like they might just have wasted their time with these areas here. They're not necessary, and they just kind of just dragged out the game more than anything else. They didn't really add anything new. Snow is here too. I like the snow idea though. That is one thing I think they could, again, have expanded upon and given me especially, less time to build an outfit for it. Because it limits me, and usually games are afraid to limit players because they don't want to stop playing. So they're kind of like, oh, here, have this bone, and have this bone, and have that bone. I don't want a bone. I want a challenge. I want to have fun. And I guess that's why they added survival mode, but it's not built around survival mode. And that's why I don't care about the survival mode that much. Survival mode is always tagged on to a lot of games because players are asking for it. And developers keep making the mistake of not building it around survival. Especially a caveman game. How can you not build it around survival? It's like, that's the perfect setting for it. And not a lot of games have done that. So you'll be the first one to really make a caveman game based on survival. Just think about that. There are a lot of other games out there that are survival, but are the caveman times? The only one that comes to mind is Ark, but that's not really caveman specific. But yeah, that's that, I guess. But yeah, I would pay... I mean, this game is pretty old by now. It's not really that crazy. It gives me quite a lot of time, though. It is like okay. Maybe like 18 euros, I'd say. Yeah, let's say I'll pay 18 for it. $18. Let's just say that because I don't care about the difference between euros and dollars at the moment. I'm not gonna account for inflation and stuff. I'm just gonna say 18, whatever currency that is dollars and euros, and then we'll see if they're close to each other or not. It doesn't matter. But that's what I would pay for it anyway. $18. It's not a bad game, but it also isn't a good game. It is a game that could have been big and could have been great, but it's held back by its lack of expansion on the mechanics and how they just stick to a formula that they are afraid to do something different with because they know it works. I think you can have a lot of fun in the game. I think they are being pretty creative. I would have loved to see them be able to change character though. Like in the beginning I was like, oh, are they actually gonna make me change character? And I was like, that would be so cool to see the different playstyles of different characters. Because you could be like the hunter that hunts animals. You could be the guy who moves around a lot. And he could have been like the basic dude who kind of does everything, but not proficient in it. And this could be the bomber guy, the bomber guy. And this could be like the poison guy who's more into strategic stuff. And this guy is more into hitting stuff and being in snow territory. Like, I thought that could be cool to kind of play as the villagers and make the Wenja, like where you play as all of them, and kind of expand it on all of them and be all of them in order to make the Wenja feel like they're all connected, and the Wenja themselves are strong and epic, you know. But it's just all Takar. Like, anyway, everyone else doesn't matter. Like, Takar is the main dude. All of these guys are supportive characters, and I feel like they could have made them more unique. Like, she could have been like a person who can pick up healing and can heal faster and stuff, but she also can't use big clubs. She can use knives and do stealth, maybe. And this guy could use animals. I mean, that could have been such a great idea. That's what I thought they did in the beginning, and I was like, oh my god, Ubisoft, are you actually trying to be cool and expand stuff and make something different? Sort of, but no. I do feel like there's a lot of potential they could have done with this game, as I always feel with the games. So, yeah. But for what it is, they did a pretty decent job. I will say that. I did have fun. They had some cool animal stuff. And like I said, taming. The food system here is also kind of interesting. I wish they would have made it so you can go to a campfire and cook food and then pick one of these. Just be more immersive about it and stuff like that. I feel like that could have helped it be expanded a bit. Like just try to make it more survival oriented, because you are a caveman. You need to eat and hunt for food and take care of the Wenja. And the village mechanic could also have been expanded. Right now I'm listing all the things I would have done to improve the game, because I can't sit and complain about a game without giving things that could possibly improve it, right? Because I don't want to just hate on a game. I want to help them out, see if they make another game like this. They could potentially watch this video. Probably they won't, but in case they do. And yeah, less of the fast traveling. Maybe make it so you have to go there in order to fast travel. Don't have these missions. Maybe have specific missions that are more custom tailored, that last like 5 minutes, instead of these 2-minute missions where you just do something for someone and that's that. Like rescue people, kill beasts for people, or kill bad guys. Like, that's pretty much all what the missions are kind of about in specific areas. And then make the areas interesting without putting a marker on the map. I know you're very tempted, Ubisoft, to put markers on the map. But it makes it more exciting when I don't know there's something there and I stumble across it. Because I'm forced to go here anyway. Okay, so if I want to go up north and do a quest, okay, I would go through here anyway. Why haven't I discovered this? Because I just kind of ran up there because I didn't care. Like, I knew there was a question mark here, and I knew it's just going to be another little place that had nothing interesting. So what I did was, I just kind of went, boom, up, and then I ran. I think I even ran this way at one point. So you adding a question mark there does the opposite, because I'm just not interested, because it's just another one of your place question marks that points out a location. But if I saw something cool by walking past it, I would be like, huh, what is that? And then I would go explore it, and then I would discover the location. Like, pique my curiosity. Don't show me that, oh, you see this thing here, you see this building, you see this bell in my hand. See this bell in my hand? I've shown you other bells before, but this is another bell. I'm like, yeah, but it's just another bell. I can see what you're holding. Why do I care if I can see it? Meanwhile, if you didn't tell me anything and I suddenly saw the bell in your hand, I'm like, why do you have a bell in your hand? Okay, maybe I should investigate it. It's like you wonder about things you're not told to do, and you kind of explore them yourself because your want for knowledge and experience kind of just drags over there automatically. And that's something a lot of games just kind of forget because it just places question marks. Now, I actually have played Assassin's Creed Origins. They place question marks. But what they also did was make it so the question marks, the locations were unique. So there were less of them. But almost all the locations besides camps, because camps were also question marks, I'm pretty sure. Which is also a pretty neat thing to do, in all honesty. But it made sense in the game because the areas were huge that you explored, and they all had some environmental storytelling, pretty much. Like the pyramids, the stuff, like you were discovering what kind of pyramid it was, who was it for. There, it felt like they had learned a lesson or two about like curiosity and piquing players' curiosity. Like that was just the tip of it though, because it still showed a question mark, so you still just went there because. But if you're Ubisoft and you show a pyramid on the map and you go, oh, here's a question mark, I would still go, okay, then I'm just going to ignore it because it's just another one of your locations. But if you showed me a freaking pyramid and there was no no marker there, I would be like, I must investigate that. Like, it could be a secret, it could be anything. They could not have planned me to go there for some reason. And then I want to go there. It's just a bit of a thing that they just don't understand. Even today with Far Cry 6 is a bit... It's a bit wonky how they do it. Pique my curiosity. Don't just give me something to do. Far Cry 3 was an action game first and foremost, and it wasn't this big, I don't think. Or at least I got around pretty fast because of the vehicles, if it was this big. And it was also kind of interesting because of the situation that your character was in. Your character was, again, just a normal dude who joined in there, and he was not used to guns and killing people, and you kind of saw his reaction. Everything was pretty realistic, like, in the sense of, if you got dropped in a jungle, how would you act? Would you try to cling to people who didn't kill you? Would you learn from them? Would you start to become better at it just to survive? And free your friends, like, if you have motivation? Like, all of that stuff was pretty creative, and it was the first time. Trapped into a location and you kind of have to survive, you have no experience. How would that be like? And it kind of showed it pretty well. You're the guy who was useless and you turned into someone who could be a badass. I even feel like playing it again just because I remember how it was like to be Jason in that game. Everyone keeps remembering Vars, but I remember Jason and the journey that he went through to become the... He was called something. And it was he was using the power of the Tatao. I don't remember what exactly he was called, but that was kind of cool. Oh, another thing I also I like that it's not English, by the way. I said this in the beginning. I like that they're not speaking English in the game because it fits the setting, and I like it when games kind of change the language and just put subtitles whenever it fits the setting of a game. I do appreciate it if they add an English option though, so in case I don't feel like reading, I can always just swap to English. But I would probably always use the in-game language if I play myself, like the language of the location. I'll probably use that one all the time. Because I didn't know whether I would be mixed on it or not, but I actually really liked it because I picked up on a few words and they sounded kind of interesting and funny to me. Even though it probably was just gibberish. Like Takar and Tigre. You know, those kind of things, just kind of fun to say. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of all my feedback on it. One thing that really drags down the price, which is why it's 18 and not like 20 or 25. The bugs. Now, I don't know if this is exclusive to me or if this is for everyone, but my controller acted very weird when playing this game. The controller is not at fault. I played other games besides this one at the same time as me recording this game. Like, not the same exact time, but, you know, like, the same period of time as recording this game. And no issues whatsoever in any game. So I don't know why this game specifically wants my controller to shut off now and again. It has some kind of weird issue with that, I think. I'm using a PlayStation 5 controller that uses DS for Windows in order to run it as an Xbox controller. It works in every other game except this one, apparently. I keep shutting it off. It still works. Like, it still works fine, but it acts weird now and again. It's such a weird thing. And also, I got some weird frame... like, it's kind of random, because sometimes my frame rate was down below 50. Like, 59 at some point, and then it went up, and then sometimes it just completely froze, and then it started coming again. And my PC was not the problem, because my recording was fine. It even recorded when it happened without freezing. So my PC wasn't the issue, because the game itself was freezing itself. I don't know if there was some kind of weird error or something in the game, but it seems to happen now and again. I'm not entirely sure why. So that kind of makes me hesitate to really recommend it for even 18. Like a sale for 12 would probably be more for this box. But I do believe the experience is worth a lot, because it is a little bit of time, you know, like playing for maybe 14 hours. I don't know if that's actually was. It might be 14 hours I played or something. I'm not entirely sure. But for that amount of time, it's not a bad price. Like the 18 euros/dollars for a game like this. It is pretty high quality. It's just not what I would want a caveman game to be. And also, it would be great if you could build up your village better than it showed before. But yeah, I like also the idea of nighttime being dangerous. Like, there are so many small touches that could be fitting for a Ubisoft survival game a lot, but I just don't want to do it. It's so weird. Why are you not leaning into the survival aspect of the game more? Well, we are in a survival mode. Yeah, but the survival mode doesn't actually add survival elements now, does it? It just makes everything a bit more difficult. That's already in the game. Yeah, well, I guess that's all I kind of have to say. The environment, everything, I've already given my stance on it. Open world is a bit useless in this type of game that they're trying to tell, where it's a bit of more focus on the story. And the open world is kind of just tagged on there. Story wasn't particularly great. Like I said, filled with messaging, with revenge bad, take in kids that need it. Like, not in the context of like homeless people, but like as in, the bad guy has a love for these kids, and you respect that love by taking in the kids and keeping them alive. And then the kid in the end was like, now I'm also a beastmaster. Oh, yeah. You know. But the message is that kid was the bad kid, and because they're now part of your tribe, the Wenja, they now learn how to tame beasts as well and become a warrior. I just... like, it always makes me laugh and cry inside at the same time. It's like, Ubisoft, why? Why can't you just portray things as they were? Why do you have to involve your own messaging in that? Like, it doesn't matter. We're not gonna think it's bad or good because of your messaging. We're gonna think it's good or bad because of the story, the gameplay, and the world itself. I don't need you to tell me how I'm supposed to feel or how I'm supposed to treat people. I know killing people is bad, but it's a video game. It's not real life. Anyone who thinks this is like real life are kind of psychos, or should go into and get help. It's not. Everyone knows it's not real. That reminds me of a game. This is a bit of a tangent. I'm sorry. I'm throwing this out way too much. I'm gonna end it in a second. But yeah, what's this game? There was like a what's it called? Like a shooter where you shot innocent people in the game. Like, that's the whole point of the game. You went to public places and you shot people, and all media outlets hated on that game so much, saying it was pointless, it was useless, and everything. I was just sitting there seeing like the shooting looks pretty decent. The actual hitting looks pretty decent. I don't support that kind of behavior in real life. Of course I don't. The developers of that game probably don't as well. No, probably they don't. But they made a game like that because they wanted to, because of creative freedom. And if people buy it, then sure. Sometimes shooting at things is fun. Like, I don't see... Let's take Hitman as an example. You guys probably know who's going to bring that up. In Hitman, A lot of people kill innocent people all the time. There's even like a challenge that says kill everyone on the map. Kill all innocent people. There's only one target typically. I don't see anyone hating in that game because it's what everyone plays. It's not an easy target for media outlets because it's a huge game. But no, a little game that has shootings in shopping malls and stuff, suddenly very, very bad because of the actual topic it's doing. It's a video game. Let it be a video game. The more you claim it's not a video game, the more people get hypnotized to believe that that is not a video game and that it's a real thing, and then more people jump onto the hate wagon, or they do the opposite and they support doing that in real life, and now you have suddenly created what you feared most media outlets. Stop it. Just look at it as what it is. It's a game. It's a video game. You don't need to make it into a political statement or anything. It's a video game. Shooting stuff is bad. We all know. You don't need to tell us. You don't need to remind us. We're fine. But that was a huge tangent. These are all the things I have to say about the game. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. What are your thoughts in the comment section? Do you agree or disagree with what I'm saying? Do you think video games should show political stuff in case kids play the game? Even though this is not clearly not made for kids because it contains violence and stuff. But do you believe it should contain that kind of stuff in case kids play it? And do you believe that political messages in games actually has an effect on people? Like positively? Or do you think that just brush through it or past it like I do? It's just part of the story and it's not really... It kind of hurts the story more than it helps it. Just for the sake of maybe sending a message that's good. It would be interesting to hear what you have to say. But if you have any games that you would like me to play, of course, you can leave a comment telling me exactly what you would like me to play. If you would, of course, also like give me your opinion on the game. Did you like it? Do you believe it's not worth it at all? Did you try it and didn't enjoy it? I have a friend who tried it, did not really enjoy the game, so dropped it. I have another friend in the middle of playing the game, kind of just went away from it because it's pretty repetitive. So, yeah, it would be great to hear what you guys have to say about the game and your experiences with it. I think it's an extremely cool setting that is underutilized, but I don't think they utilize it properly. And that's kind of my main take about this. It is limited by being put in a bowl filled with only Far Cry stuff, and they're afraid to take it and mix it with another bowl that is called survival mechanics. And because of that, it's very limited. But yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed watching. Sorry about my cough. If you did, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. I hope you all enjoyed. Yeah, and as always, stay awesome.